So they did just have a bit of a tiff just now, but I was kind of happy to see this time they didn't actually get to the point where they were squeaking. They definitely were pushing each other around and kind of both trying to mount each other and standing up kind of face to face and kind of having a bit of a standoff. And it's funny because Fizbin is the only one who gets puffed up. Tribble doesn't really puff up, but I don't know, there's definitely having some standoffs, but in the past it's been like turned into like more of a squeaking fight. So here they go. And I can't really tell, honestly, what they're fighting over, because it's not really food. There's not like resources, or they should have plenty of room that they don't need to argue. So I don't know if they just need to settle their hierarchy between them or what, but I've kind of, from what I understand, the general rule is no blood, no foul, so I haven't really been interfering with this at all. I did the other night hear some squeaking and came down to check on them just to make sure that no one had been hurt, but that was the only time I'd ever heard squeaking while they were in the cage. So like I said, I don't know how much they fight in the cage. Because right now it's like they're seeking each other out to squabble instead of going off their separate ways. There's plenty of space and things for both of them to do. They can easily go back in the cage, and it used to be that Tribble immediately would submit or would just go right back into the cage. But that's not the case anymore. As you can see, he's actually kind of instigating now some. So I was hoping it would kind of be simple because Tribble kept submitting easily, that just Fizbin would be top of the food chain and they wouldn't need to kind of have a discussion about it, but clearly Tribble's not happy with that anymore, so I'm not really sure how this is all going to resolve. I did talk to a vet the other day just to get an understanding of what the cost would be if I did need to neuter one or both of them. It's not really something I would like to do from a safety standpoint and from a money standpoint, to be honest. I don't exactly have the extra money to be neutering 2 rats, really even 1 rat. But, I mean, if it gets to the point where there's bloodshed, where they're really consistently going at each other, I may have to consider it. But like I said, I feel like in the cage, it's not really a big problem, because I feel like more often than not now, when I come down, one of them will be up top and one will be down at the bottom. And so I think it's fine as long as they seem to get along okay in the cage, in the sense that they kind of just go their separate ways. And I do try to keep food on multiple levels of the cage. Like I've got some food there, some food there. This has been happening too. He's been attacking my socks. I have been eeping though, and he didn't actually bite my foot. I don't know if he just doesn't realize. This has only started this week, where just has been every now and then will grab onto my sock. I feel like he can't tell it's me because he doesn't really do it to anywhere else. Maybe Tribble is like peeing, marking my sock when he stands on it, and that's what I'm not really sure what's causing him to do that, or if he thinks it's a toy. But I've been trying to get him to realize that he can't just be grabbing my toes like that because it hurts. Boys. Yeah, see, I don't know why they squabble so much outside the cage. It's almost like a magnet effect is something that we talk about with dogs that are reactive, where they don't actually want to be around each other, but they're drawn in and it turns into a fight. Because I feel like that's usually what happens with dogs, is more often than not, they feel like they can't escape and they get drawn to each other, and then it turns into an argument. But I'm really hoping these two can work it out, because I don't really have the money to neuter either of them, and I really would rather not have them be solo rats. I suppose I could try to separate them, but then they might just argue with whatever other males they were put with. But since they're not shedding blood, I'm going to try and give them some time and hope that maybe it'll calm down as they get older. They are kind of just hitting adolescence, so yeah. See, Fizbin always goes off to explore. Tribble always comes back to me. and then goes back out to instigate some more, apparently. I've been trying to get a better look because he's the one who's got a spot. I know, he doesn't really want me to look at it, which is frustrating because I genuinely can't tell what it is. Come here, babe. Can I please get a look at your neck? Hold still. See, it's right here. There's like this bald spot. He's too energetic. He's not going to let me show you, but it's like a line of bald spot that looks like it might have like a bump or a scab in it, and I genuinely can't tell because he won't hold still long enough for me to see it. So, yeah, I mean, the vet that I would have to take him to told me it'd be $65 just to look, and it would be $65 per rat, but she said I could easily just bring in one, and odds are that whatever one has, if it's something infectious, the other would likely need to be treated for it anyway. So, with any luck, I could take one in and then just get medicine for both if it's something infectious. Hey Fizz. Tribble has discovered that he can get inside there. I don't know why they would want to be inside there. There's really nothing for them in there. But I refilled some of their food. I didn't fill it as high because they've kind of been being picky about it. So I think I'm offering them too much food because I keep finding like that basket is full of like little bits and pieces that are in there. And since it is a mix, I'd rather they not be selective feeding. So I'm gonna try and put less in there. I should try and just keep track of how much is actually gone in a day so I can feed them like day to day so that they're not selectively eating. And I have kind of been slowing down how much of that I give them just to get them to eat a little bit more of their lab blocks, just because I know that's nutritionally complete, and that food, I'm not as sure. I've seen some videos about like homemade mixes, but I'm just not confident enough in my ability to really make something that I'm confident would, oh, there you are. Hey, thief. That I'm confident would be nutritionally viable for them. Hope Tribble doesn't think he's stuck in there. You got in, get yourself back out, goof. But yeah, they seem to be enjoying their little castle. And this seems to be a safer alternative than the rope that I was using, considering that Fizbin literally fell off of it yesterday. What was that? They get a little spastic every now and then. Like they just get super hyper, which, I don't know. I mean, I would think this is a lot of space. I wouldn't think they would get too bored in there, but I'll try to change it up again the next time I clean, which will probably be this weekend or midweek. I mean, the yesterday's news does a really good job with absorbing everything. Like I can't smell. I went 2 weeks before the last cleaning and didn't smell anything. I took out like some soiled like bedding, you know, like tissues and stuff, but I didn't take out any of the actual yesterday's news. But once I switch to something else, it'll probably change. But boys, can you get along, please? Yeah, they like mount each other and then do this weird staring at each other thing. And yeah, so you can see kind of how that was Tribble, or Fizbin, which to be fair, he's really puffed out right now because he's irritated with Tribble, but you can kind of see, hi, are you playing with my hoodie? Here. He likes to play with this sometimes. If I could get Tribble to hold still for just a second, come here. If I could just find that spot on him that's all funky. I don't know. I don't really know enough about rat markings to know what their coat is supposed to look like, or really just any kind of rat coat information, really. I mean, I do know that they came from a reptile feeder bin at like a reptile expo, so I'm sure they weren't bred for any kind of appearance whatsoever, but I think they are starting to kind of enjoy being touched. I'm not super well versed in rat body language though, so I'm not positive. It's kind of still a learning curve for me. Like I can see that his ears are kind of back right now, but I don't know if that's because I'm talking and he's listening to me, or if he's listening for what Tribble was doing behind me, or Fizbin, sorry. You're Tribble. but he at least kind of allows me to pet him now. I don't know that either of them loves it yet, but I do try to reward him for interacting with me. Like this, see this? These like bald spots. And I swear there's like a bump in there that I just can't get on camera because he gets squirmy every time I try to look at it. But you can see like this area right there. If I could get this to focus. Yeah, what? No, let me see, it won't focus on that. Right there. I can't tell if that is like a bite mark where like maybe Fizbin bit him, or if it's like a sign that he might have mites, or just a dry skin thing, because they have both been scratching a lot. So I don't know, maybe it's just that he's got dry skin from living in poor conditions previously, because yeah, they have been scratching a ton, so maybe he just scratched himself raw. I don't know, I probably should just bite the bullet and take him in, because he's the worst of the two in terms of both sneezing and having those spots. I think Fizbin, ow! What's your deal? He just nibbled me a little bit. It wasn't like a bite, it was like their introductory nibbles when he used to try and see if I had food. Mostly he licks my hand, probably because normally there's wet food on it, but right now he just gave me a little nibble. Anyway, I think I've rambled on long enough. You may have noticed the absence of my dog screaming. He's finally starting to come to terms with me being down here for about an hour every day. I do give him a call when I come down. He's adjusting, which is good. I was a little worried because I didn't want him to, suffer any, stress about it. He did cry a little bit more tonight than he has in the past few days, but he's on anxiety medication, and I just lowered the dose to see if I could start weaning him off because he's been on it for a few years, and I think he might be ready to come off of it. I'm not sure, so we're giving it a try. So he was a little more upset than he has been in the past few days, but for the most part, he's actually been great, which is a really huge relief to me. Hey, baby. You're very cute. Very cute. Oh, the problem with him being on me is it's hard to get good video. I'm always amazed too when I see people on like Instagram who have all these amazing photos of their rats, and it's like, I can't even get a video to stay in focus with how much they move around and how anyone can get a good photo. The only photos I've got is when they're like eating carrots in their hammock and they're staying kind of relatively still. Hi, bud. Yeah, Tribble's more of a homebody. He sticks closer to me, where Fizbin kind of goes off and explores. This really doesn't want to stay in focus. Anyway, I've kind of been trying to let them, at least one of them, choose to go back in the cage before I put them back in for the night, rather than me grabbing them and putting them in. But if one of them has climbed on me, see, like this is going on for kind of an extended period of time, which I don't like. I don't know. Yeah, if anyone watches this and knows a lot about rat behavior, these are literally my first rats. So I keep reading online, no harm, no foul, but I don't know, I come from the dog community where generally we don't allow fights to happen. We might allow like a quick tell-off, like a 1 second stop it, but generally I don't allow just a fight to break out, regardless of whether or not I think someone's gonna get hurt. So this is really difficult for me to just let them like argue or bicker, even if neither of them is necessarily getting hurt. So if anyone watches this and has experience with rats, I would really appreciate some wisdom on that, just because it has kind of been hard for me to know what to do with the squabbling.